Hi, and welcome to the Healing Intimacy interviews. My name is Mia Renvall, and with me today I have Tuulia and Pete from Honesty Europe. Welcome, Tuulia and Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mia.
What do you notice in your bodies right now?
I notice my fingers are clenched together and a little bit of tightness in my belly.
Yeah, I know there's some I've had a bit of a sore throat and it's still kind of a bit rough here. And then a bit of tightness here in the chest. And now my shoulders are relaxing.
And I notice a little bit of tightness in my belly and a little bit of tightness around my mouth and a bit dryness in my mouth, otherwise quite relaxed. It's good to see you. I appreciate you for doing this interview with me.
Thanks for having us, Mia.
So we'll be talking about intimacy and what disconnects us and what brings back the connection in relationships. And you're a married couple on top of being radical honesty trainers and leading workshops together. So as a couple, what is intimacy for you? How would you define it in your relationship?
Well, I think it's many things. It's definitely communicating. So like talking, sharing what's important, like smaller things day to day, like being happy or excited about something or appreciating each other. Also, if for me, it's really important to share if I'm tired or troubled. So sharing the small things and then sharing the big things. And then also for me, it's the physical connection, like touching, hugging, looking into the eye. Of course, being sexual. So like warm touch and sexual touch. And just being in the same space as well for me, like being together, just the two of us.
Yeah, I agree with all that you said. And I imagine I like also the expressing of emotions. I find to be quite intimate. And sharing the things that I don't want to share with you. So when I notice that there's a thought or something that's happened, and I have a little bit of thought of, oh, I don't want Tuulia to know that. I notice a work email that I realize I haven't answered in a couple of weeks. Oh shit, I don't want Tuulia to know that I didn't do that. She's gonna be angry at me. And then I go ahead and tell her. I find that to be quite intimate, sharing with her the very things I don't want her to know about me. And like I said, also the expression of emotion. So as you mentioned, the appreciations, sharing sadness, sharing attractions to each other, and the ones that we have for other people, I find to be intimate. I can share those with you. I want to hear those from you. And sharing the anger. Yeah, I find anger to be quite intimate. That you're the one I get angry with the most on this planet. And that doesn't mean you're bad or wrong. It just means that you fuck up sometimes. No, this means that, yeah, I feel close enough with you that I can share this emotion with you. And I have enough experience with you that I can not only express it, get over it, but I have confidence that you're not going to run away from me if I share my ego with you. You're not going to reject me. You're not going to end the relationship. Yeah.
I appreciate you, Pete, for saying when you fuck up or something like this. I imagine we all do that in relationships. We all have mishaps. We all do things that might hurt the other's emotions. And what a gift it is to be able to clear it then and there. It's lovely in my relationship. My partner has started to notice when I'm withholding something. I'm kind of squinching my lips somewhere. Like, I don't know how it looks, so I can't do it now. But he says, "You're doing that thing with the mouth again. What is it that you're not saying?" So it's very beautiful. Just talking about anything that might come up.
And I think being playful about that as well is important. I find that to be intimate, that we can be playful about the very things that make us most angry about the other one, that we know each other's triggers quite well, we know each other's pasts quite well, and the things that used to make us so frustrated and angry, we can poke each other and play with each other about them.
I'm gonna do this.
Exactly. I like that. Yeah, playfulness and humor helps a lot, of course, to alleviate the feelings of feeling disconnected. So, in your relationship, what disconnects you from intimacy? What are the triggers for you?
Well, for me, definitely, if we are physically apart for a long time, and we are regularly in different countries, so that does sometimes I feel more distant. And yeah, we have made quite a lot of effort and agreements how we communicate and how much we communicate when we're apart. So that happens less and less. I think in the beginning, I didn't really recognize it until I was a bit like feeling more distant, not so connected. And now I kind of know myself better, what works for me. So I also take more responsibility as just picking up the phone. And that the written form is not quite the same as having either a voice or even better video. So really, I find the video calls really important to actually see Pete's face. So that's one thing, definitely, not just being physically apart.
Yeah, the time apart isn't as much of an issue for me. I enjoy my time alone. And that doesn't mean I don't love you. Um, and I do enjoy being in communication while we're apart, physically apart. But yeah, since we do run a lot of retreats together, we spend a lot of time with groups, and I get a bit burned out um, being around lots of people and then having less time with you.
Mm.
Um,
And I think when we do have time, like in the evenings, it's not like the same as just hanging out because we're tired and maybe there is something troubling or something professional to talk about. So it's a very different quality. So then the really like warm, slow place is missing for me while we work intensively.
I think also what creates distance or breaks intimacy is not getting over anger. Even though I judge we're both quite quick at noticing when we're angry, both quite good at expressing our anger, both quite good at getting over our anger, still in those moments. If one of us leaves the room, or it may only just be for 30 seconds or so, but even then it's, no, I don't feel very connected to you. That the anger is intimate, and at the same time, you know, if I'm still want to blame her, make her responsible for my emotions, yeah, the connection might be broken a little bit. And I judge we spend very little time in that place.
I think the tricky one is when there is some conflict or anger and we are very tired. So that's the tricky one. Like we have the agreement that we don't get into any heavy stuff after 11 p.m. But then if the heavy stuff is there, then it's either we go into it and it's more difficult to get over it because we're tired, or we don't go into it and then I feel it in my system like, okay, there's this stuff that we didn't deal with yet. So like the combination of tiredness, late at night, maybe some pressure about other things, work or the kids, and yeah, then that can be a tricky combination to find a way.
So after a conflict like this, what brings you back to connection? if you haven't kind of during the clearing already gotten back, like what are the last steps? Do you have some kind of exercises that you do, or how do you create the steps back to connection after argument?
Well, a great shorthand that we've developed when we've been disconnected or angry at each other is just sticking our tongue at each other, making a face, which is just a quick way of saying, I'm angry at you and I'm here still with you, and I recognize I'm being irrational, unreasonable. I want to blame you. And it diffuses things rather quickly. So I like that we can, again, while we're angry and have all that tension and tightness and sweatiness and heart racing, just with the just kind of catching myself, sticking my tongue out. And yeah, it's also not so serious. I'm not so serious. So that brings me back to connection and back to intimacy, and rather quickly.
Yeah, for me, it's sometimes like I realize something like, okay, so what was the bigger thing underneath? Like, is there some further trigger or insecurity or something? And when I get in touch with that and I'm willing to share that, even it turns to uncomfortable thing, like I don't want to really look at that, then it's kind of, yeah, I'm owning my part, and then it's kind of, yeah, realizing a bit what was really going on for me beside the surface topic, then that tends to help. And sometimes just having a little time and things start to like feel less serious, less heavy, and then I might say to P that I want to hug you, or I want to touch you, like just touching his arm or something like that. And then there's a different kind of connection created. But not as an avoidance, but like, okay, I noticed that I'm now in a more quiet place and I just want to connect.
We tend to have sex quite frequently, and not as I have experienced sex that while being disconnected from my partner, thinking that it's bringing us together, and recognizing in hindsight that doesn't bring me actually closer together. And yet I think the sex that we have is usually without anything unexpressed, anything lingering. So I do think that our sex, that a reason why we have as much sex as we do, most days we do have sex, is when we're together, is due to this feeling of closeness and intimacy, that there's not anything that's being unsaid, which I didn't experience with past partners. There's many things left unsaid in my head, which was creating distance. And then so the physical intimacy was also a little bit harder to experience.
It's easy to kind of think that, okay, now we're connected again when there is sex or some physical touch, and I don't think it really quite works that way, or that can really override the like deep stuff underneath that is kind of bubbling still.
Exactly. So as awesome as makeup sex might be, there might come in some power dynamics anyway there, and some lingering stuff that maybe isn't either helpful for the little parts inside that might be still hurt. So I really appreciate you for that tip, like to keep the sex clear of resentments, like clear the baggage first and then come to conscious touch. And I loved what you said, Tuulia, about just noticing whatever is going on and then asking for what you want. So asking for touch and kind of co-regulation and hugs and stuff like that. That's very beautiful. And so on top of being a married couple, you're also radical honesty trainers. And as you said, you lead workshops and you hold space for bigger groups of people. And as radical honesty trainers, have you noticed some certain topics that keep reoccurring with clients that hinder us from intimacy? Have you noticed some kind of pattern there?
Because unexpressed things, they could be secrets from the past, like not really sharing like about past relationships, for example, or some of the painful stuff about childhood family. So like just the other one not really knowing enough. And then I think it's, not speaking up. Like many of us are afraid of getting angry, afraid of asking for what we want, really terrified of hearing the no, and then kind of, rather than being straight and clear about what we want, kind of dropping hints and then getting pissed off that the other one is not a mind reader, and going into this game that, oh, but we've been already together this long, you should know, and only if you spontaneously do things for me they count. And I think that's such a bullshit thought. Like, do we need to be mind readers? And if not, then how is it that we demand the other one to be a mind reader rather than just like owning? And then eventually the other one, of course, learns like what makes us happy and what we want. But like the hints, maybe they learn, but like the little hints just don't work. And everybody is miserable with that kind of behavior where there's not enough straight talk.
Exactly, it's very vague. It's very vague, kind of hinting like, I would maybe want to, these kind of things. Yeah.
Certainly, yeah, the unexpressed emotions. So, or unexpressed anything. So it's showing that part of ourselves that we think our partner wants to see, repressing or hiding that part we think they don't want us to see, and then making ourselves miserable that they don't fully see us, don't fully appreciate all of us, that we feel alone with this part of us, even though we're in such close contact with someone else. And maybe they're doing the same thing, hiding some part of them from their partner, which leads to two lonely people together, which doesn't work out so well. And then with those, then all those triggers or whatever traumas that they haven't fully explored. So yeah, we see that routinely, and like we'll be leading a couples workshop soon again. I'm routinely surprised by how much people withhold from their partner, and then in a sort of safe place with a third party or third and fourth party even, they are able to express these things and, you know, go through the shit of all the anger, the sadness, whatever, after expressing that, and then noticing how much closer they can become when they're no longer hiding from their partner.
It takes so much effort to hide, to pretend and remember what you were sharing if you're kind of hiding and lying. And so why not just share them out loud and be honest? And as you said, it can be very tricky in the beginning, and you might not even know what you're missing out on if that's something you've done for years, all your life, in all your relationships. How could you be more honest?
There's no guarantee that your partner will stay with you if you do share everything about you. Yet, do you want to be miserable in the relationship by
hiding?
Yeah. Or open the possibility to be fully yourself in another relationship, a different relationship, if this one isn't the one for you.
Exactly.
And one thing that I have come across quite a bit is like some people have a deep desire to be right, and then there's a lot of fights around who is right. And this is of course endless, so you can just forever. And then when one is like in a vulnerable place and feeling a bit threatened, then just like sticking with that. And I tend to think that it's kind of ongoingly, I make a choice. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? And if I want to be right, then it's difficult to be happy because then I'm ongoingly trying to convince my partner and other people that I am right and somehow they're wrong. And I see that this especially comes with people who have a lot of unresolved stuff with their childhood parents, and then they kind of bring the parental dynamic to their relationship without really actually being aware at all. And then it's like, without doing some personal work and looking deeper what's really happening here, this is nothing to do with my partner, it's kind of tricky to find a good place. And then these kind of spirals happen again and again and again. So I think sometimes just getting some additional support to really notice what's really going on and how it is really about me and not about the other can be really helpful.
Exactly. And this has been a big thing for me, for instance. I really appreciate the work that you do, and I've been in loads of your workshops and retreats and really worked on those childhood triggers in order to then form a safer relationship. And I imagine I wouldn't be in a safe enough relationship right now if I wouldn't have worked on becoming a safe partner myself. So just working on those attachment wounds together in a community. And we need these spaces. We need these places where we can practice this. You guys are hosting workshops now on the Natural High Healing Festival. And I'm going to be there too with the Healing Intimacy workshops. So there is a safe space for you to come and practice in a group, being more authentic and real and honest. And so what are you offering there at the festival? Do you want to share a little bit about your workshops there?
Yeah, so everything we do is experiential. So it's not about like theory and lecturing to people or stuff like that, but really trying out. So we have concept called experience right honesty, and that's really doing some exercises, some honest, authentic sharing. And of course, everybody decides how deep they go. So if this is the first touch with the work we do, maybe then just sharing one thing, for example, that is a bit vulnerable or something you like about yourself, can be also pretty triggering or unusual for someone. So just trying out a bit in the form of exercises in paired or small group setting. And then we do also honest date night. So basically people who are searching for a partner or a friend, they can come and sort of connect with people and start that not so much from a way of pretending or putting the best appearance, but rather I'm showing myself and seeing if there's somebody who is liking what they see and if there's a way to connect.
What she said.
Exactly.
Beautiful. And then when you've practiced radical honesty, you can come to the Healing Intimacy workshops, and then there we'll combine the communication exercise with then touch exercises as well. So on Friday, we are going to meet new people. So the date night will be, I imagine your date night will be more maybe for romantic relationships or maybe also friendships. But in the Healing Intimacy Friday workshop, we'll be actually just getting to know new people, changing pairs as often as possible to connect with as many people and see if there are some new friends. Because at the festival, it's a big festival. You might sometimes feel a bit disconnected, dysregulated. And if you come there alone, it might be nice to come to these spaces to find some new friends, find someone to practice with. And if you find a very special someone, you can continue then on Saturday in the Healing Intimacy workshop for couples or pairs. So you can come with your friend, with your sibling even. So all the touch exercises I will be guiding there will be non-sexual. So they will be just unconditional love. So you can come with whoever you feel comfortable with and just practice on how to attach a bit more safer. And notice your body and see how it feels. And then maybe eventually find someone if you haven't found it already. You can, of course, also come with your long-term partner and just deepen the connection with them. So warmly welcome to our workshops on Natural High Healing Festival. And Tuulia and Pete, I really appreciate you for being here today and sharing about your relationship and your work. I really appreciate what you do. And I wouldn't be here without working with you. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you for talking to us and for having an interest in our work.
Yeah, thank you.